Hi, it's me, Patrick, with a special video lecture all about group work. If you're like me, you have, at some point or another, had a negative experience with a group assignment. I am an A-type personality, and I like things to get done, and get done the right way. So when confronted with a group assignment, I would normally jump on it myself and end up doing the work of the whole group. Meanwhile, most of my teammates would be slacking off, clearly lazy, clearly not caring about their grade. I would get frustrated, I would complain, but I would get the work done. We would get the A, and I left with a bad taste in my mouth about working with others in groups. With that experience in mind, I decided that when I became a professor, I would avoid all of these issues. I decided to do away with groups because groups are just random collections of strangers. You're basically hoping that it works out okay. It's like playing the lottery with your grade. It's ethically and morally wrong, and I would never impose that on my students. So, groups don't work, that's obvious. But what about teams? Well, teams work. Even when a team doesn't win, sorry, Texans, they can still be successful. They have common goals, they work together, they succeed because they have their eyes on a common prize. They set expectations for each other, they communicate, they are there for each other. I knew that as a professor, I wanted to have teams in my class. It's a skill you don't really learn outside of sports, and in the context of communication, it's a perfect fit. The thing is that teams are still problematic, and I believe part of this comes from the way we've been conditioned to think about school-based team assignments. Specifically, I think we make several assumptions. Assumption number one is that some people don't care about their grade. I think this is a common belief that there are those out in the world who just are in school without any grade goal in mind. Assumption number two is that lazy people and slackers exist and that they hurt teams. That there are people who just bring teams down. And finally, assumption number three, everybody knows what is expected while working on a team. Now, I know that I certainly worked with these three assumptions when I was doing team and group assignments in college. To combat these ideas, I want to make some counter propositions. First is that everybody wants to find their own measure of success. A sub-proposition to that is that the people in this class right now care about, well, they care about something, and very likely they care about their grade. I know in high school people are forced to be there. It's not really voluntary, but college is voluntary. So why would somebody be there if they didn't want to be? I think on some level, everybody wants to be here. Next. Sometimes our motivations are affected. Motivations usually occur for many reasons. A lack of, or motivation issues occur for many reasons. A lack of personal goals, sometimes, but often due to mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. This leads me to my next proposition that lazy people and slackers don't really exist. These are simply labels, and unfair labels. Nobody was born lazy or born a slacker. Somewhere along the way, these people might have learned some bad habits, or even worse, they are suffering from emotional or mental issues that we are labeling as slacking and laziness, when in reality they might have some serious problems and they need help. Finally, my third proposition is that sometimes our expectations aren't clearly communicated. I think it's so easy to assume that the people around us share the same exact expectations, but ultimately that is naive. It's simply not true. We don't all share the exact same expectations of each other. So, with these propositions in mind, what can we do? Well, we have choices. I'll bet you're so surprised to hear me say that. What? Choices? Yep, choices. First, we can choose to see our teammates as human beings, not simply labels. Even positive labels such as hard worker tend to dehumanize the humans that we share teams with. Avoid labels. Instead, choose to see the humans that we are working with. To do this, we might try to learn about the goals of our teammates. It's hard to see somebody as a label if we really know who they are. So don't just share goals, be curious. Find out why your teammates have these goals. This will go a long way towards seeing them as human beings. We can also choose to set clear expectations. We should talk about what we expect, not just assume that everybody is on the same page. We're often not on the same page after all. Now, sometimes a teammate isn't going to meet your expectations. When that happens, you can choose to Ask non-accusatory questions. Ask if they're okay. That's what I try to do with my students. Some of you watching this have got emails from me asking if you were okay. That's because I am legitimately interested in you and your well-being. You not completing something I expect you to complete isn't you being lazy or a slacker. It's a symptom of something larger, and I want to help you identify the issue and maybe even help you eliminate it. And remember, when somebody doesn't meet expectations, that it's not about you. They're not trying to hurt you. They're going through something, so don't take it personally. Now, I think all of the above can be summed up in one choice I think we should all make. We should choose love, not hate. I think this is hard, but I think it's doable. Love isn't an infinite emotion. Let's put more of it into the world. So, choices. Yeah, we have a lot of them we could make, but it's not always that easy, right? Let's say that we do make these choices to have compassion for our teammates. Sometimes a teammate is going to come to us and they're going to have a legitimate need for help. What to do? Well, we might have an instinct to help them out, to do the work and let them get the grade. Let's examine that choice. By doing the work of another person, we are hurting their ability to be a better teammate. We're also hurting our own ability to attend to other things in our life. And also, we're cheating. The definition of cheating is when we do work for another person and they get a grade for work they didn't do. That's cheating. Don't cheat. So, what do we do to help them out? Well, it's simple. Come to me. We'll try to work it out as a team. If we can't, I'll take that person off of the assignment. Don't worry, they'll still be on your team. I'll help them find resources, and I'll give them an alternate assignment. But gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, right? All of that going to the professor, trying to reorganize. Why not just do the work for them? It's not that big of a deal. Well, one final reason is you may be missing an opportunity to help another human being. Sometimes people need help beyond someone doing work for them. They need to know somebody is there to take their hand, to care for them. I'll close with this story. A few years ago, before I had all of these 15-minute one-on-one meetings with students at the start of the semester, I would still do the time charts, but I would only spend 2 minutes with each student. One of those students indicated he was sleeping 12 hours a night. I asked him about it, and he said he just slept a lot. I didn't think anything of it. A couple of days later, he was absent from class. He was then absent again. Finally, I sent an email asking if he intended to finish. My email, by the way, wasn't an "Are you okay" email. It was an accusatory email. His mother answered back, saying he had committed suicide. Well, there were warning signs. Excessive sleep is a sign of depression. If I had just spent a few more minutes talking to him, I might have figured that out. I might have been able to tell him that I cared about him, that he was important to me, because he was. All of my students are important to me. And maybe he would still be around if I had shown a bit more interest. Maybe not. I'll never know. My point is that when we are on a team, we are surrounded by human beings. They may need help, but if we're just labeling them as lazy or slackers or not caring, we miss a chance to maybe truly profoundly help them. Maybe even to save a life. So, like I said, choose love. Choose to extend a hand. Become a team. Care about each other. I promise it will make your grade better, your semester better, and maybe even your life better. Thanks for watching.